had a vision that Bible schools were for, vicar's sons, and it wasn't for a guy like me who was into sport. So I weren't very interested. When it was put to me that I should go to the Bible school by my pastor, I thought, no, I don't want to go there. And I thought that everybody'd be sort of praying all day, and it'd be a bit boring. And but then my minister said, actually, there's one of the staff coming, and I'll get him to come down to the club and you can meet him. And we were playing basketball, and I expected a little wimp coming in. But it wasn't a wimp. It was Stuart Briscoe, and he just got out the Commandos, and he used to play rugby as well for Cumbria. So he was a big husky guy, and he came on while we were playing basketball. I wouldn't say he was the world's best player at basketball, but he knew every foul in the book, and he knocked us about that park. And I just playing basketball with him, I thought, if he's one of the lecturers, it can't be so bad at that school. It's good fun, and he had a smile on his face in the things he was doing. And then I had a little chat with him afterwards, and I knew then, if people like Stuart at Bible school, then I'm going. And that's how I decided to go. As soon as the lectures finished, they said I had a football on my desk, and I grabbed it and started kicking footballs around. I weren't used to study. I wasn't one of those kids who, didn't do much schoolwork after school and never did any homework, played sport all the time, soccer all the time, so I had no time for studying. And I found it very hard to start getting into lectures. I found it very hard at first, but slowly God was beginning to speak. The speakers were good, they were lively, they were interesting, and I began to listen. Although I still was a bit of a wildie, I nearly got thrown out of Bible school in my early months because of, I sneaked off to see my girlfriend at Liverpool. And that was the kind of guy I was in those days, and I was wild. And yet the principal there, a man by the name of Mr. Van Doren, who became a very dear friend of mine, he said, you've been such a trouble in the first few weeks that we've been considering sending you home. And so, but then he got up from his seat, moved round to where I was stood, and I didn't know he was going to hit me or what. But then he put his arm on my shoulder and said, I'm not going to send you home, I'm going to pray for you. And I'm going to pray that God will, really make Bible school special for you. And it was. After that, my whole attitude changed. And for the first time, I began to discover what the Christian life was about. You see, I had a problem. I knew that I'd become a Christian. And, although, as I say, I was from a wild background, I knew that God had saved me. And I'd become a Christian. And I knew that one day I would go to heaven. I know that I am a Christian, but how do I live the Christian life? And it was in those early weeks under the ministry of Major Thomas and Stuart that they taught me the glorious truth that the Lord Jesus Christ himself would come and live his own life through me, and I could live the Christian life. I began to think, this life is the greatest life on the planet. That verse, I have come that you might have life and have it to the full. In other words, the best quality. So I began to discover that, and so I started speaking to footballers on football fields and witnessing there, and I would often gather them together at the end of the game. I said, guys, I want to tell you something. I've discovered the greatest life on the planet. I want to tell you why, and share about this greatest life. So what I think I'd encourage young people is just look at the life that you've got, the quality. You'll never thirst again, Jesus said, It's the very best. And so once I began to recognize and experience in my marriage, in my sports life, I was beginning to see great things happening in sports ministry. I was beginning to say, hey, there's no better life than this. And because of that, it sort of inspired me to just reach more and more and more people, because this life is indeed the greatest life on the planet.
Who is Jesus to you?
He's everything. He's my life. He's my strength. He's my wisdom. He's my peace. He's my joy. He's my purpose. Everything. He's all, I can say with the old John Wesley, long old quote, you, O Christ, are all I want. More than all, in you I find. And that, I can honestly say, is my discovery of Christ.